Welcome, generals, to Ray Reverse Gaming, and I'm going to be doing an introduction to the game Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa. It's a series of games. This has been out for a couple of years. I don't, it's it seems, I've been playing it a little bit. It seems kind of interesting. It definitely has a bunch of features in it that I've never seen in a war game. So, like always, these kinds of videos that I do at the very beginning for a game is to inform folks to see if they may or may not like the game. Okay, so this is supposedly the German attack on the Soviet Union, and it's not supposed to be super detailed, but it has a lot of details, and it also has a number of features, and we'll be talking about those. This initial video will be to go through different things such as settings and setting up for the actual fighting, okay? Because there's a phase once you start in which you have to set up um, relationships with of your chain of command and so forth, and make some decisions and so forth and so forth. So let's just get right into it, shall we? So in settings here, you can increase your difficulty settings. Here's an AI speed, and you can make it slow or fast. And the slower it is, the more time it takes to make better decisions. Opponents over here, you can switch these around so that you can either play as the Soviets, or you can play as hot seat, or as a German. So that's pretty normal. These settings here, you have fog of war, which is pretty obvious. You got passwords and PBM protection. Hide AI moves is so that you don't see the Soviet counters moving around after you hit the move button. Over here, you have a number of options to make the game either harder or easier. It's clicked with the Geneva Convention one. This is actually it makes it easier for the Germans. Okay, and but anyway, I'm going to go with historical. You have mild winter, which makes it easier. It makes it easier for the Germans, as you can see, -10 difficulty. So easy mode, of course. Tougher Soviets, yeah. You can imagine what that is. Free setup. You don't have to go with what the setup is that the game has got for you. You can set it up for yourself. Probably the better way to go from what I've seen how they're set up, but I haven't done that. And you have other things over here. You have these decision things and history and plots, and this has to do with a feature in the game which I've never seen in a war game, in which you're actually having to, based on political decisions, you have interplay going on between your chain of command, both up and down. So that's interesting. I find that interesting. We'll see how it goes. War diary. This is a thing that you get to see each move of a guy in the trenches and what he's experiencing. So just for the sake of video and keeping things moving, I turn that off. So with all that set up, you just start up. Alright, so off we go, start the game. So this is a special pre-start turn, okay? So you do not start with the ability to play, okay? And the reason is because of decisions that you have to make. But before we do that, let's just run right through what you got up top here, which is important. Preferences, okay? Map, show the hex grid. This over here, hex grid on off. This over here is interesting because it shows the command radius. It shows the supply radius of your units, and that's That's important, but I think you can eyeball it. If you cannot, you can always go into preferences, turn it on. Sound. I've turned the music down, as I always do. Avoid conflict with YouTube. The FX sounds, kind of drive me a little bit crazy with recording. It probably is my OBS Studio that's doing that, so I've got to turn quite a bit down. Resolution, I don't know what the hell they're doing here. I normally like what resolution you want for the game. The game itself uses the resolution of your monitor. Okay. You have the brief. This is the introduction. You've already seen that. Reinforcement schedules for the Axis and the Soviets, and the configuration of how you're playing the game. Then order of battle, and here you can click on these guys and they will show you their subordinates. So this is, for example, Army Group North. If I click on him, you see that he's got 4th Panzer and 16th and 18th Army underneath them, and then if you click on them, you see all the units that are under 4th Panzer. That can be handy. Okay, then you have this map over here. Shows the different sides of this thing. I'm not sure why you would use that. I'm not sure. Help. This is what this is these are tutorials, and it goes through all the different mechanics of the game. Basics, combat, logistics, postures, stuff like that. Good start in playing this game is to watch all of the tutorials. You just click on the tutorial and it'll take you to one of your video devices on your computer, and you'll watch that. So that's very good, actually, and I watched all of them. You have a mini map over here, which is clickable, so that's cool, and you can put it on or take it off anytime you want. So now we get to what we're really here to do, and that is reports. And you have a bunch of decisions you have to make, and you can see that you have these red duty there. I forget what you call them. Okay, and this one you're asked to go to Berlin to talk to Adolf Hitler, and he wants to know if you're going to support your his plans or not. So I'm going to go ahead and decide to do that, and then it tells you you can read this stuff. Okay. This gives you plus 70 political points. Your strategy is support Hitler's plans. Okay, so and then the relationship is what you're looking at, really. And here the Hitler is satisfied, and your current relationship is good. Okay, so all of these things, this one is more on this is what path you want the railroad to go for Army Group North, and there's different ways to do it. You can say I don't care. I'm going to pick the Riga line there because it leads right to Leningrad. So that's to me it seems to be a no-brainer. Army Group Center, the same thing. You have different things here, but the Smolensk leads to Moscow. So again, I think that's kind of a no-brainer. Go over to here. And here they're talking about how quickly they can convert the Soviet track to German track, and the problems that they may have. And here you want to fully motorize them, partially motorize them, or the truck columns are needed elsewhere. So, um, and also I've noticed that these decisions sometimes change. So, adequately equip the rail construction battalions with enough trucks columns to do their job. We can spare some trucks, but not many. Well, I'm going to say adequately. Go ahead. One guy's satisfied, one guy's not impressed. And although I'm running through this quickly, it's actually something that I kind of like. Okay, so here they're talking about construction battalions, and they're asking you to properly equip these guys, help where you can. They'll have to do what they can, so I'm going to go with the properly equip them. The side there, and press that key, and you're done. Okay, so and that finishes the very first phase of this game, and from there you can then continue. So let's continue to the next move. And sorry for running through this stuff so fast, but I don't want the video to be really, really long. It doesn't mean that I think it's silly or I don't like it or this or that. I just don't. It's just that I'm trying to keep the length of the video as short as possible. So here's Hitler's order of priority of strategic intent to take Leningrad, destroy army HQs, then to take Rostov in the south and Moscow in the center is the fourth priority. And then your aide-de-camp tells you that you have to assign a focus to one of your commands in each of the theaters. You have to assign artillery to each of your theaters, and you have to tell the Luftwaffe what they want to do. So there's going to be some decisions you have to make here. And so once again, you go to reports, and they have all kinds of reports here, and you can go to logistics, and they're telling you all kinds of stuff here. There's so much stuff here. It's amazing. All right. So let's see. An opportunity has arisen to tweak theater fuel allocations. Make a decision. Okay. So right now it's 20% to the north, 53% to the center, and 27% to the south. That seems about right to me. You've got two panzer groups in the center, and one panzer group in north and south. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to leave that. I'm not going to, you don't have to make the decision. Okay, let's see what this is. Okay, so this is asking, this is from Goring asking what you want to do. You've had an initial air attack, which has destroyed a lot of the Soviets' aircraft. And he wants to know whether or not you want to cancel the air offensive and start support of ground troops, or maintain the offensive for 4 more days, or 8 more days, or 12 more days. And I'm going to say, it's 0 political points. I'm going to say just continue for 12 more days. He is pleased with that. Okay. And here we're talking about partisans and whether or not we should be switching over to when should we be switching over to fight against partisans. And it says leave these guys to mop up for another week, 2 weeks, or a month. And I'm going to say a month. We're going to go with that. And before I answer that question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to relationships. And, okay, so let's see what we got here. So, the Führer is good. OKW, our headquarters, is poor. This guy doesn't like you, okay? I'm not sure if you can even make him like you. Luftwaffe is neutral. All of these guys seem to be okay. And then the trains is neutral and good. And the trucks is neutral. I'd prefer that he was more in my favor. Over here is your political point, 62. Okay. You have your Panzer Group guys. Your score, 0 so far. Unit info. Okay, so the next thing you have to do before you actually start fighting this war is you need to go to a card. Now they have a card system here. All right, so we're looking at postures here. And when I click on this, this says to order the army to adopt a blitzkrieg posture. To order to adopt a blitzkrieg posture. Well, you don't have to do that, because if you look at these guys right here, okay, they're already on a blitzkrieg posture. So all of those guys are on a blitzkrieg posture. So you do not have to use that card right now. There's 3 more choices, or 2 more choices for each theater. One is for sustained operations. So you're going to have to figure when to back off of the blitzkrieg posture and go to a more sustained offensive. And then there is a defensive posture in which your offensive essentially has come to a halt. So let's see, Luftwaffe. And these guys have resupply options, you know, for both groups and individuals. And artillery. Artillery is important. We need to do that. So you got to figure what armies do you think are going to need artillery support the most? Okay. All right. So that's up to you. I suggest looking at your order of battle, looking at how you plan to fight the war. For me, let's see, let's go to Army Group North. And then you play that card. Now you take a look at Army Group North. And then you have these commands. You can give them to individual divisions, or you can give them to your army. And I'm thinking that I want to give it to Army Group. I want to give it to 16th Army. So I'm going to give it to 16th Army. I can play that card. So obviously the guy, the commander of Army Group North, is allowing me to do that. If he doesn't like me, he won't let me do it. So I'm going to give that to Army Group North. Okay, and then let's go to Army Group Center. Okay. Now we're going to come down here to look at Army Group Center. Okay, so here you have your Panzer, 2nd Panzer, and you have your 4th Army here, and your 9th Army here. Okay. And you're going to be marching down this railway because this is where your supplies are going to be coming from. So I'm going to give that artillery support to 4th Army. Okay. And now Army Group South. Let's play that card. It's different, you know. How it affects the game in the end, you know, I'm not sure. But I know that Let's see. And also in the artillery, you've got a siege gun you can call up when you feel you need it. Let me see. Pushers. We've already done that. Luftwaffe. We've gone through that. Rest and relief. There may come a time here where you're going to need to order your panzers to rest and refit, and or so you have a either an army group or a panzer group that you can order to rest, and they will refit each for each theater, or you can do an individual division for each theater. Okay, so let's go to command now. And now focus command. This is again. This is quite important. Actually, all the cards are quite important. Um, um, the artillery is going to give you a boost, okay, for that army, because they're going to have extra artillery assets, and the focus is going to determine how your resupply is going to who they're going to try to get supply to. So this is especially important for your panzer divisions, right? So let's go to Army Group North, focus staff and command resources onto an army or panzer group, only if relations are good, more or less. Okay, so this is Army Group North. We only have one panzer group there. I want to put them on panzer groups. You know, these railways are going to be the way in which the supply flows from trucks, and later you'll have forward operating supply areas, and then there'll be trains to that, and then trucks from there. So I'm going to go ahead and give that the 4th Army. Okay, and that's done. And let's see, Army Group South. Let's play that card. Now, this one's a little bit tougher because 2nd Panzer has also got 5 divisions of infantry. Okay, so it's kind of difficult to figure out who, should I give it to these guys? But if I do that, that means they're going to get prioritized with the fuel and all that other kind of stuff, and it's kind of hard to make a decision as to whether to give it to them or whether to give it to 3rd Panzer. Okay. For this game, I'm going to give it to 2nd Panzer. Okay. All right. 4th Army has my artillery. 2nd Panzer. My dog going. 2nd Panzer has. Well, I don't know, because they'll be going down the line. Let's go ahead and give it to 3rd Panzer. So we play that card. There we go. And then Army Group South. And this is the guy who I found is most likely to stiff you. Okay. And there's 1st Panzer Group, and they allow me to play that card. So I'm going to play it. And there you go. So, that's your focus. And then you have a couple other cards here that are important. This is reassign a panzer group. So you can temporarily reassign a panzer group to an adjoining theater, which means they'll be able to cross over into the other theater's strategic area. And what you see in this game is that not only this is another feature of this game, is that the forces that are in, for example, Army Group North or Center, they are restricted and they cannot move past these lines. So these guys from Panzer Group, 3rd Panzer Group in Army Group Center cannot go into Army Group North. So So it's important to realize that those are the forces that you have, even though they can attack across. Okay, but being able to move a panzer group from one side to the other is going to be important when you start moving out further and deeper into Russia. You may want to take one of these two panzer groups here in Army Group Center and split them down. For example, what I'm thinking is either going down this way, or that's the more likely is to go down south where it's more open country, suitable for panzers. You also could go to you could send them north, but that's an interesting card as well. Let me see here. Okay, so let's finish up with the cards now. So now then you have some other ones here, and this is to order an entire panzer group or army to halt and rest and refit. So obviously they're going to have to be behind the lines to do that, so that they can refit. And you can also order one for each of the areas, and you can also order individual divisions to do that. And so I think that does it. And this one, organize priority transport for any division that is outside of command range, not cut off, hasn't moved, and is further than 3 hexes from the enemy. I've used that card when I've got a reinforcement who is really far back here. Or another thing what happens to me, believe it or not, is I cannot find a button to undo what I did, and sometimes I've clicked on a unit, and the worst was when I clicked on a panzer unit, and then I clicked over here, and next thing I know, I've got a panzer unit all the way back here, and to get him back into the fight, I used that card there. But I understand that they can also get stuck, for example, in these in the swamps, and that might be a way of getting them out of there. All right. So I think now we are all set up. We don't have to do nothing there. We don't have to do anything there. We've got our siege artillery there, rest and refit, and our command cards are all played. So we've played all our command cards, and we still have this one. And over here you see is your political points, okay? And should we make a decision about this? Should we change our fuel allocations? Let's real quick take a look at our relationships, and you see von Rundstedt down here isn't very happy with us. Okay, this guy is happy because we gave priority to building railroads and stuff like that, helping with the workshops. North is neutral. So let's go back to those cards again. And let's see. Was that in command? No, that's not in posture, not in Luftwaffe. Oh no, that was in the reports section. Okay. And now the thing is, though, is that if I change this allocation, okay, I could make folks kind of mad with me. You know what I mean? So here's the options you have: a larger fuel allocations at the expense of AG center or south. So basically, favor north group, favor center group, or favor south group. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cop out on that. I really think that most probably Army Group South and their theater requires more fuel. But with the center having two Panzer groups, mm, I just, you know, and taking away from the north, which is only at 20%, um, I just don't, I just don't see an upside in that. So I'm going to say no changes. Okay, decide. That's my chief of staff who got angry at me. Okay, and so is my dog. All right, and there we go. And we can see what's going on here. Unit info. We've now done everything. All of these played our cards up here, which are basically kind of strategy oriented. So that's kind of cool. That's, like I say, I've never seen that before. We've done our decisions, and there's still not any reason yet to look at these other guys for their reports. And now we are prepared to actually fight the battle. So I'm going to end there. There's a lot of other stuff to talk about. And how this game plays out. But we'll do that in the next video, in which I'll play probably at least 2 turns to give you an idea of what the gameplay is like, and for once again for you to be able to say, hey, that looks interesting, or that doesn't look interesting, or I don't like that, or what have you. So far, I'm finding it interesting, and I hope you found my video interesting. And if you're thinking about the game, maybe you'll find the next one even more interesting. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching, and hope y'all take care, and we'll see you later.